I want to tell you a story about a girl I met at an online dating website. I never met her in person, only online. And this was back when I was a pickup artist and I was messaging a lot of girls and using these online dating websites. So this is a Lithuanian girl, very pretty, very wholesome. She wore these dresses in her profile pictures that were traditional Lithuanian dresses. And she seemed like a very wholesome girl, the type that you would take home to meet your parents. Good grades, student government, played sports. No tattoos, no piercings, right? Nothing like that. So we get to messaging each other and it starts to get sexual. And she starts asking me, what's my favorite position in bed? And she's asking me, where does she want me to touch her? And all these kind of things. And I'm like, okay, she seems to be interested in me. I'm not sure why, but all right. So I try to get her to meet me in person. And every time I do so, she gives some incredibly lame excuse. And so after a while, I start to ignore her because I realize she's playing some kind of game. And right around this time, she sends me a message that says, hey, I'm part of this charity fundraiser. Could you please donate some money? And there's a link to her website. And I probably shouldn't have clicked the website link, but I clicked the link and it went to her official college website for this charity, and it showed her picture and the picture of all her classmates, and they were competing to see who would raise the most money. And I'll admit, I was tempted for a second there to donate some money and then come back to her and say, hey, I donated some money. Look at me. Now will you go out on a date with me? And I'm glad I didn't do so, because the next day her profile was deleted and she won the fundraising competition. The second place person wasn't even close. She won by a wide margin. So it should be clear what she was doing. She made a dating profile for the sole purpose of flirting with guys to get them to donate money for this charity. And her strategy worked. She won this competition. I don't know what to say here. It worked. And what it boils down to is all women are like this. Now, obviously, all women are different. So all women will do this, but to different degrees. Some women are more blatant about it. Some women are better at hiding it. Right? If you look at a housewife, it's in the housewife's advantage to not talk about money because she's benefiting from her husband's hard work. But if you compare that to a prostitute advertises her price because it's in her advantage. If her clients don't know the price, how's she going to get clients? And we know that women will do different things in different situations. For example, we know from scientific studies that depending on the time of month or depending on what part of her menstrual cycle she's in, she'll prefer different guys. So during one period, she will prefer the nice guy, the loyal, financially strong guy who would be a good father to her children and will provide for her and her children. But during other periods of the month, she'll prefer the bad boy, the adventurous guy, the exciting, unstable, passionate guy. Right? So when we say all women are like that, we don't mean every woman is identical. Variation is an important part of evolution. If every member of the species was identical, there would be no evolution. There would be no selection. There would be no sexual selection. There would be no trait selection. Variation is important. My own mother is like this. My mother chose a man with strong financial outlook. They met in college. And he was studying engineering. And he got a good job. So my mother is like this. And I benefited because I got a good start in life because my mother chose a man who was financially strong. This is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. The bad thing is if men are clueless about it. That's when it becomes bad. So this girl, she's got her technique down pat. Kudos to her. She knows she's way ahead of the game. She knows what she's doing. I mean, it's bad for the guys that got screwed over, but it's good for her. I mean, the trajectory she's on, in a few years, she's going to graduate, marry a wealthy man, probably cheat on him when she gets bored, and then eventually divorce him and take half his net worth. So some poor schmuck is going to marry her thinking she's like this wholesome, good, quote unquote, good woman. So on the fundraiser website, it showed her name. So I Googled her name and everything on her dating profile was true. Graduated with high GPA, high honors, honor student, track, tennis, student government, all that stuff. The most wholesome, nice girl you can imagine. So it's interesting because if you ask a woman, are you a gold-digging whore? The reaction is going to be, oh my God, I can't believe you. How could you suggest such a thing? I'm offended, blah, blah, blah. But if you ask her the same question, phrased in a different way, would you prefer to date a wealthy hedge fund manager or the guy who flips burgers at McDonald's? I mean, I think the answer should be obvious, right? Oh, hey girls, I met this handsome guy and he's a doctor. Ooh, he's a doctor. Ooh, what a catch. Right? That's socially acceptable. But if you phrase it the wrong way, then no, you can't say that, right? You can't say all women are golden whores. That's wrong. And we know that a very powerful mating strategy among women is to marry the rich guy and have sex with the attractive guy. So the stereotype that you see sometimes is a beautiful, cunning woman marries a rich guy who's fat and bald and physically unattractive. And then she'll have sex with the pool boy who's hunky and physically attractive, or the landscaping boy. And this is a very powerful mating strategy. It's hard to pull off. She has to be very beautiful and very cunning. But it's a mating strategy. Women do it because the baby has the highest chance of having a good life. She gets the best of both worlds. Good DNA from one man and good finances from the other man. So that baby has the highest chance to be successful and also pass on his genes in turn, his or her genes. So that maximizes the chances of her being a grandmother. Alright, so that's my story. Thanks for listening.